Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Amina. Welcome to our channel, Amina Reads, and today is the first day of filming my spookathon vlog. So it's Tuesday and spookathon started on Monday, but I was busy and I didn't get a chance to film any clips or anything. But today's Tuesday and this is the first day that I will be reading intentionally for spookathon. So I am planning to start Misery by Stephen King. If you saw my TBR video, my goal is to read Misery because it covers all of the challenges, and also finish The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, which I'm almost done, and finally to possibly get to this other vampire book called The Guild of Stories. So I will tell you guys more about all of those books if you haven't seen my TBR video a little bit later, but I have to get to class and I'm running a little bit late. So I will see you guys soon. I just finished The Beautiful and I'm shook. In an entirely expected turn of events, I have already deviated from my TBR. I finished The Beautiful on Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, and I have just, I'm like 70% into The Monster of Ellenhaven, and I'm almost finished. I'm gonna finish it today before I do some coursework, but this book is fucking crazy, y'all. So this book is about these characters named Johann and Florian, and it's about like this city that is basically like, it's this decrepit like factory city that's basically like falling into ruin and disrepair. And Johann, it was like this poor kid who ends up becoming a murderer, and then he discovers that he's immortal, so he can't die, so that just influences him to do even more immoral shit. And then this other character, Florian, his family died like 20 years ago of this magical plague, and basically like nobody in the town like saved them or cared about them or anything, and in fact they kind of like locked them in their family home and left them all to die rather than helping them in any way. So Florian is understandably pretty upset about that, so he has decided to recreate the plague and weaponize it, and him and Johann have linked up to do illegal shit together and be gay and do crime. So I mean, they're wild, but I really like this. It's so weird, like it's so fucking weird, and it's really like gory and gruesome. There's like so much gross stuff is described, like the murders and like blood and vomit and like all that type of stuff. So it's really fucking spooky and like weird, but honestly I like it. And I think the relationship between Johann and Florian is so weird, and it's just like fascinating. Everything about it is fascinating, and I like that it's a book about villains and like they're just doing their villainous shit. I just love it. Like, it's fun, you know. You can't always read about the hero. Reading about heroes all the time is boring, so this was a nice quick deviation from my usual type of book. But yeah, I'll tell you guys what I rated when I finally finish. So I just finished The Monster of Ellenhaven, and literally all I can say is what the fuck, because that shit was really weird. Like, it was weird in a good way and weird in a bad way at the same time. But I've never read anything like it. The characters were like fascinating, and they were like evil in an interesting way. Like, it was cool to read about villains and doing villainous shit. I thought that like their perspective was fascinating. I also thought that their relationship between Johann and what's his name, Florian, was interesting. It was very like be gay, do crime. I think that their relationship and like how codependent it was interesting. But yeah, it was really weird. I don't think that the book like really fulfilled all of its potential as a concept, because the ending was like, what? The ending felt like really disconnected from everything that was happening prior in the story. It kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. And it was anticlimactic, to be honest. So it was just like, So I don't know how I felt about the ending, but I think I'm going to end up giving this like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, because it was an interesting read, but it was a little bit weird. Anyway, to catch you guys up on everything, I finished The Beautiful. I told you guys about that. Finished The Beautiful. The Beautiful was a 4-star read. I really liked it. I have a whole vlog where I talk about it, and I do like a mini review at the end of it, so you should just go watch that if you want to know more about my thoughts on The Beautiful. And that goes for my challenge of read a book with red on the cover. And then The Monster of Ellen Haven, which wasn't on my TBR, but I impulsively read it anyway. That goes for the challenge of a book with a spooky word in the title, cause monster. And yeah, so I completed 2 books technically during this readathon, so that's cool, right? Like, making progress. Now I just need to read and finish Misery, and then I will have finished like all of the prompts for the challenge, and then we'll see if I still have time for the Gilda stories. I don't know if I will, but it will be great. The readathon ends when? Sunday? And it's Wednesday right now. Well, it's about to be Thursday because it's like midnight, but we'll see. Hello friends, so it's Thursday afternoon. I just finished my classes and I have lots of assignments to do, and also I need to read more for spookathon. So I have started Misery. I'm at like 50 pages so far in Misery, and I really like it. I really like the way it's written. Our main character, his name is Paul, and he's an author. He's been kidnapped. Basically, she's helping him because he was in this accident, but essentially she's kidnapped him, and she hasn't notified anyone of where he is, and she's basically torturing him, and she gets him hooked on drugs and everything like that, basically so that she can keep him captive there. And it's really fascinating how it's written, and you can like tell how drug-addled this man's brain is because of like the way that his thoughts just ebb and flow, and like you can feel kind of like a lack of consciousness in him. And I really like that aspect of the writing. And also I'm really into this like exploration of the relationship between an author and like their audience. This book is supposed to be like a look at the author and like their internal feelings about their own creativity and how they feel like they can't express that without facing backlash from their audience. It's interesting on that level to me, but also it's so fucking scary. Like, Annie is so scary. Everything about the book so far is good, but I'm only like 50 pages in. I need to read like so much more of it if I'm going to complete it anytime soon. But I am really into it. Another update, I ended up starting this other book, and it's called The Perfect First by Maya Hughes, and it's about this girl named Persephone, but she shortens her name to Seth. So Seth is like math prodigy, and she's basically 18 and she's about to graduate college in like 2 more semesters, I think. And so she is really looking to get like the full college experience, and she wants to do like all of this stuff, including lose her virginity before she has to graduate and go back home to her really restricting parents. And she ends up meeting this guy that's a football player, because she puts this ad online that's like, help me lose my virginity. So she puts this ad online, and the guy mistakes her for like this PR person that he's supposed to be meeting, because he's a football player, he's trying to go pro. And yeah, so she thinks that he's a guy that wants to help her lose her virginity, and he thinks that she's like this PR person, and they have this really crazy first conversation. And from there he decides that he wants to like help her and like protect her from all of the weirdos who actually answer her ad. So they basically like become friends, and then eventually they're going to become more. I'm like 25% in, but I like it so far. Like, I can't stop smiling as I'm reading it. I really relate to Seth so much as a very like introverted and kind of like socially stunted person. I definitely could relate to where she was coming from, and so I just feel really seen by her character. And I think that her and Reese, the guy football player, I think that their interactions are so funny, and I like them, and I miss reading new adult so much, so this is like perfect. But I still need to finish Misery. I still have yet to start the Gilda stories, and I started some random new adult romance that was not on my TBR at all. It has nothing to do with anything even remotely spooky, but it's making me very happy, and it's the escapism I need right now at this point in the semester, with the midterms coming up, and there's just papers and projects and presentations, and I am tired. I'm going to update you guys when I finish more of Misery, which I will do after I do some coursework.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Hey y'all, so it is Saturday night, like late on Saturday. It might be like 11 p.m. right now. On Friday, I don't think I gave you guys any updates or anything, but I did keep reading Misery. So when I last updated you guys about Misery, I was on like page 50 maybe, and now I'm on like page 130, but I'm not as far into it as I would like to be at this point. So I'm definitely not going to get to the Gilda stories for spookathon, but I am planning to read it like next week, because I should be able to finish Misery at some point. But anyway, so it's Saturday night, and I'm planning to read this before I go to bed. And the reason that I haven't been really reading that much, on Friday after class, I basically came home and I fell asleep, and I was just like dead for hours. And then when I finally got up, it was like already late. It was like 7 at night, and I went out to dinner with my family, and then it was even later, and then I just went to sleep after that again. Clearly this week was a rough one for me. And then also, what is it? Today, Saturday, I ended up going thrifting with my family. So we went to a few different thrift stores. I purchased a lot of stuff, and then after that we had a game night. So basically I've been spending the whole weekend with my family and like doing family stuff. So I haven't been reading as much, but it was a nice little break from reading and from school to see my family and everything. So yeah, planning to read Misery tonight, and so far I'm really liking it. I already mentioned that I really like the writing style, and I think that like Stephen King does a really good job of writing this character's mindset and how like frazzled it is, and like writing the hallucinations that the character has, and like the different dreams and thoughts that he has in this really isolated and psychologically stressful situation that he's in, being held hostage by this crazy person. And I'm really into that aspect of it, and I think that it's super scary in that regard. But also I really think it's fascinating how the main character Paul, he is a writer, and he writes a romance series about this woman named Misery Chastain, and that is the series that this woman Annie really loves that he wrote. And basically she is so upset with him because he murdered the main character of Misery, because he wanted to discontinue the series because he doesn't like writing romance. He wants to be like the next great American writer, so he's decided that like he wants to write like, you know, like pretentious like literary fiction, and his audience really does not like that, and they used to send him like all this hate mail and everything. And so he really resents his audience a lot. And I think it's interesting how the book talks about like his relationship with his audience and how he really does not like his audience, and in a lot of ways he doesn't respect his audience, because most of his audience are women who like romance novels, and he thinks that they're just so like pathetic, and he thinks it's ridiculous that they like his books. He hates writing his books, and I just think that that aspect of it is really fascinating, as well as like the, you know, like the horror aspects which are really present. And I think that Annie is so scary, and she's like the perfect kind of scary for me. I think that like she's terrifying to think about being in this closed space with a person that's like crazy like that. But yeah. Hello loves, it's Sunday night, and I've decided that I'm just gonna give you guys my wrap up, because I definitely am not gonna finish Misery tonight. I didn't really film any vlog clips today. This vlog was a mess. All my vlogs are a mess. Basically, I completed 4 of the challenges for Spookathon. Read a book with red on the cover. I read The Beautiful. I rated The Beautiful 4 stars. I read a book with a spooky word in the title and in a spooky location, which was The Monster of Ellenhaven. The other challenge, it was to read a thriller. I didn't read the thriller because I didn't finish Misery. Finally, the last challenge was to read something that you don't typically read. And I don't typically read like gory, violent books, but I read The Monster of Ellenhaven, which was very gory and very violent. So yeah, those are the books that I finished. That's all the stuff. Also, I read that new adult romance that I really liked called The Perfect First, and I gave that one like 4 stars or like 4.5 stars, and it was really great. And so yeah, I mean, technically I had a really good reading week, but I didn't complete all the challenges for Spookathon, so I'm a little bit disappointed, but it is what it is. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, sticking around if you have till the end of this video. I'd appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know if you read any of these books, if you liked any of these books. What were your thoughts? I don't know. Tell me some stuff in the comments, and I can't wait to talk to you guys. So I'll see you all later. Bye.